Welcome to today's Explainer. Have you ever had one of those days where you walk into a room and just completely forget why you're there? Or maybe you catch yourself putting the TV remote in the fridge, or you have to read the exact same sentence in an email like 4 times before it actually registers? Well, if you're nodding your head right now, or maybe just laughing because you literally did that an hour ago, I want to validate exactly what you're feeling. You aren't imagining things, and you definitely aren't alone. Today, we're going to unpack some really fascinating and honestly kind of alarming insights from our source material about what's actually happening in your head when you get that feeling of mental molasses. We're diving into 3 seemingly harmless, everyday behaviors that are actively, slowly chipping away at your intelligence. So, I want to kick things off with a tough, highly personal question for you. Is your brain actually getting weaker? I want you to genuinely reflect on your own cognitive fatigue for a second. Think about your ability to focus today compared to maybe 3 or even 5 years ago. Do you find yourself losing your train of thought way more often? Do you feel totally overwhelmed by tasks that used to be a total breeze? You know, we often operate under this heavy assumption that our intelligence is just a fixed trait. Like, it's something we're handed at birth through our genetics, and it just stays exactly the same our entire lives. But the insights we're unpacking today absolutely shatter that assumption. The source material brilliantly hits the nail on the head with this one core reality. Every day, your brain is either getting stronger or getting weaker. It's never just static. Your intelligence is a highly dynamic, living system. It's heavily influenced by the choices you make from the moment you wake up to the minute your head hits the pillow. Just like a physical muscle in your body, your brain responds directly to how you treat it. You either train it or you let it atrophy. And honestly, that brings us to a pretty unsettling realization about what happens when we just aren't paying attention to those daily habits. We enter what's called the invisible decline. Because when this cognitive drop-off starts, it doesn't announce itself with some loud alarm, it sneaks up on you. It shows up as a weakening focus, a slowing memory, and this growing, persistent addiction to distractions. But you know what the absolute scariest part is? Most people don't even notice it happening. It is completely invisible. It isn't one big catastrophic event, it's just the compounding result of small daily habits repeated over and over, until they lock you in and totally hijack your cognitive bandwidth. So before these habits take over completely, we need to expose the biggest culprits behind your fading mental sharpness.
Alright, let's get right into culprit number 1, the social media trap.
Think about how insanely fast-paced our digital world is right now. The constant swiping, the flashing colors, that endless stream of algorithmically perfected entertainment right in the palm of your hand. It's overwhelming, and it is literally built that way by design. Let's walk down this insidious little pipeline step by step. Step 1, you endlessly scroll short videos. I mean, we've all been trapped in that loop, right? But look at step 2. As you do this, your brain is fundamentally rewiring itself to expect instant entertainment. It adapts to that rapid-fire pace. Think about that urge to yank out your phone during a 5-second elevator ride. That's your brain demanding a hit. Which brings us to the devastating step 3. Deep thinking actually starts to feel boring. Your physical attention span shrinks. Your brain craves constant stimulation so intensely that essential, quiet activities just feel like an absolute chore.
And the ultimate consequence of this trap? It just becomes infinitely harder to concentrate on anything important. Imagine the sheer physical friction you feel trying to sit down and read a dense chapter of a book or studying a complex topic right after you just spent an hour swiping through 60-second videos. Your brain literally fights you on it. Essential tasks just lose out to that overwhelming desire for instant gratification. This is exactly why this matters so much. It's not just about wasting a little bit of free time. This is about fundamentally rewiring your neurological pathways to reject focus altogether.
Which brings us to culprit number 2, the sleep deprivation cost.
We are living in this modern hustle culture that treats sleep like a luxury, or worse, a sign of weakness. People will literally brag about surviving on just 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. They wear that number like a badge of honor, chugging their third energy drink and boasting about the grind. But biologically and clinically speaking, this is a total disaster. Sleeping only 4 or 5 hours a night doesn't mean you're getting ahead. It means you are actively handicapping your own cognitive abilities.
Let's look under the hood and contrast what's really happening here. When you allow for a resting brain, you're giving your body the critical time it needs to do maintenance. This is when your brain repairs itself, clears out toxins, stores and consolidates memories, and resets your mental energy for tomorrow. But a tired brain? It's like driving a car with zero motor oil. Without enough rest, you get a slowed reaction time. Your memory gets noticeably worse. Suddenly, it's harder to do simple tasks, like recalling a coworker's name or typing up a basic email. Have you ever just stared at a blank screen, knowing exactly what you want to say, but the words just won't come out? That right there is a tired brain that simply cannot think clearly or make smart decisions.
And this reality completely flips the whole hustle culture myth right on its head. Highly successful people take sleep seriously. They treat it as a non-negotiable strategic advantage, not some lazy indulgence. True success and high-level problem solving rely 100% on mental sharpness and biological repair. If your brain is constantly starved of the time it desperately needs to consolidate memories and restore energy, you are quite literally operating at a fraction of your actual intelligence. Sleep is absolutely not the enemy of success, it's the very foundation of it.
Moving on to culprit number 3, the multitasking myth. So many people genuinely believe that doing more things at once means getting more done. It's this super persistent illusion in our modern workplaces and our personal lives. We're constantly bouncing around, forcing our brains to reset, switching between messages, switching between videos, apps, work tasks, you name it. But every single time you switch context, you are forcing your brain to do a hard reset on its attention. Think of it like a computer with 50 different internet tabs open at the same exact time. What happens? The cooling fan starts screaming, the battery drains, and the whole system just grinds to a frustrating, lagging halt. That is your brain on multitasking. This constant resetting actively exhausts your mental energy. You aren't getting more done at all, you're just fracturing your attention into smaller, weaker, and vastly less effective little pieces.
And the reason this constant context switching is so incredibly dangerous is that it totally robs you of deep focus. Deep focus is defined as the ability to concentrate deeply on one thing for a long time, and it is arguably one of the most important skills for becoming smarter. This isn't just some handy little trick for finishing a spreadsheet faster. This is the fundamental skill required to build intelligence. The more distracted your brain is, the harder learning and retaining new information becomes. You just can't build intelligence, solve complex problems, or master new skills when your mind is in a fractured, chaotic state.
So, how do we fix this?
Let's talk about reclaiming your intelligence.
We've identified the 3 silent saboteurs: the social media trap, sleep deprivation, and the multitasking myth. Remember how we started off by establishing that your brain is like a muscle? It absolutely thrives on deliberate, focused use, and it atrophies when it's fed a steady diet of cheap digital distractions, sheer exhaustion, and fragmented attention. If there is one overarching takeaway you remember from this entire explainer, it is this simple, undeniable truth. Without focus, intelligence becomes weaker. It really is that direct. Protecting your focus isn't just some trendy productivity hack. It's about literally preserving and building your mental strength over the course of your entire life. So, I want to leave you with a provocative question to end our explainer today. Which of these 3 habits will you break today? Are you finally going to put down the endless short videos and actively reclaim your attention span? Are you going to prioritize getting more than just 4 or 5 hours of sleep so your brain can actually do its essential repair work? Or are you going to stop buying into the multitasking myth and finally practice doing just one thing at a time with deep focus? Because tomorrow, depending entirely on the choices you make right now, your brain will either be a little bit sharper or a little bit duller. The choice of whether your mind gets stronger or weaker is totally in your hands. Thanks for joining me, and I really hope this empowers you to fiercely protect your mental strength.